Hey, what's going on, guys? How are your meatballs? Today I'm going to be talking to you about Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War Zombies DLC 1 Firebase and your guys' initial impressions of the map. I posted on February 11th, and it's currently the 21st. Be featured in a YouTube video about Firebase. Tell me, what are your thoughts on Firebase? Explain. If you think it's good or bad, that's great, but I could care less unless you explain and actually tell me why. Keep those meatballs nice and juicy, and hopefully everyone's meatballs are nice and juicy that are watching this right now. To keep them the most juiciest, make sure you're following on Twitch at twitch.tv/YoMat123. We're about to hit 6,000 followers on Twitch and also getting closer to 9,000 over here on YouTube and even closer to that 10K marker. But anyways, let's get into it. Just wanted to throw that out there. Again, Discord's down below in the description, so if you want to be featured in other videos as well, because I'm starting to do this format a lot more. I'm kind of liking this format, although this isn't as edited as I usually do, putting the comments on the screen. We're still going to have a nice little discussion based off of some of the comments I see here in the Discord. So, the first comment I see up here is from Lost Meatball. I'm not sure actually who this is in the Discord. But, anyways, he says, honestly, Firebase is pretty sweet. It's cool that they brought back Manglers and Hellhounds, making them both somewhat worse / more annoying than before. The concept of the Mimic is cool to me as well. And this is just me, but fighting the big guy is pretty fun in my opinion. I think he's talking about Orta. So, he says the Mangler's back. That's pretty cool. The Hellhounds are back. That's also pretty cool. I don't understand. He said they made them somewhat worse / more annoying than before. I don't know if I really agree with that. I think what he's saying is that they spawn more often, which could be a little bit more annoying, and I definitely agree that they still needed to reduce the spawns on both Mimics and Manglers quite a bit, although they definitely give you ammo, especially in the higher rounds. They give you a lot of ammo. That's awesome. I definitely do agree that they need to reduce the spawn rate on those just a bit, but yeah, in terms of the Hellhounds as well, I think they're awesome. I think they're better than the D Machina dogs, and here's why. When they run up to you, you know how the D Machina dogs could be cracked? They literally just literally 1,000 miles an hour lock onto you and hit you no matter what. And that can happen in succession and sometimes even kill you almost immediately. And that was annoying. But with these dogs, I haven't had that happen at all. But say even if it did, they go, woo, boom, explode. I love that. I love that they explode. Or that they go, woo, and blow up. That's, I don't know, I just love every single time. I don't mind it. It's great. Sure, you stay on fire, so it's almost as annoying as the poison from D Machina, right? But I still don't mind it anyways, just because of the fact that the dogs are a little bit more cooler. They can't attack you for a longer period of time. And not to mention, we also have those further upgrades for everything in the game, which I made a video about the other day and actually even a few months ago when it was initially in the files. So if you want to watch those, just check out the videos on my channel. Try to put it on the card on the screen right now. But those could also alleviate some of the effects of that. So moving forward, the next comment up here is from Jacob. And he says, Firebase is so interesting. Good Easter egg, good side Easter eggs, and a great boss. It was the last original Ether map, or I guess it's the first original Ether map since Go Ride Crovy. I think that's what he meant. So Pog, that they made a new map. We don't do Pogs. We only do Elite Plays only, as you already know. We got those Elite Plays only chocolate bar emotes on Twitch. But I get what you're saying, and I agree. I think the Easter eggs really fun to run through over and over again. I think it's fun to speed run. Some of the side Easter eggs are cool. The launchpad Easter egg, it's cool that it's a thing, but it's kind of stupid anyways. Cool that it's there. The Orta boss, I'm happy that we finally got a boss. That's a step up from D Machina, as I already told you guys. Firebase, I should also mention this, right? Firebase is now, having Firebase and D Machina, we now have our launcher Cold War Zombies. This was the initial intention for Cold War Zombies. So have Firebase and D Machina side by side. Firebase kind of being the mini-map of the two, the classified to your Blood of the Dead, the town to your Transit, the giant to your Shadows Evil, the smaller experience. And if you think about it, with each and every single experience throughout the years, we went from town to the giant. It's excuse me. Regardless of which one you like better, it's a slight upgrade, right, in terms of the amount of stuff you have on the map. Then from there, from the giant to classified, that's another slight upgrade in terms of the amount of stuff you have going on there. And then from classified to now, with D Machina, that's an additional upgrade now with a more full-fledged Easter egg, 4 elemental wonder weapons, stuff like that. It kind of has all the core components of Cold War Zombies, and its initial intention pretty much was to be more of a tutorial experience, introduce you to Cold War Zombies, really an introductory experience, not so much a tutorial. There's a slight difference. And that's really what the purpose of D Machina was. It did a great job at that, but as a map itself, it's not all too great. And you can definitely tell the Firebase from the Easter egg to the one. I mean, the Wonder Weapons are pretty fair on either or, regardless of them not being that powerful. They're still pretty cool on D Machina, but pretty much every aspect, from the Easter egg being bare bones, from the boss fight pretty much being non-existent. From all that stuff in D Machina, it's there, but it's just not as expansive as Firebase. Not that Firebase has the greatest Easter egg or the greatest boss fight or the greatest of anything, but it's still, again, another step up, and you can definitely tell that that was kind of the intention. But anyways, moving forward, and by the way, just want to say that I'm formatting this a little bit differently. In the past, I'd give my initial opinions at the beginning, and then I'd kind of read through the comments. For time's sake, I'm just going to kind of do both at the same time, and I think you guys would appreciate that as well. But anyways, next we have Eggplant says, overall I really like the map, and I think stuff like special enemies spawning on certain rounds and the addition of assault rounds, completely forgot about that, adds to the longevity of the map and being more playable than D Machina. My only complaints really would be the quality of life stuff, like no new pap camo or the visual bug not being fixed on Xbox. So we can ignore the visual bug, and quality of life really isn't a pap camo. That's just a, you know, it's just a pap camo. That's a separate issue. So to address that, yeah, I mean, the special enemies are cool. The assault rounds are really awesome and throws in some variety. They're not overly difficult whatsoever. They're pretty fair, and if you fail them, they don't penalize you too badly. The game doesn't end. A lot of us thought the game may end. The game doesn't end. It's not like the torture path. It's a pretty fair overall experience in terms of the assault rounds, and I have no issues with them whatsoever. Pretty dang cool overall. Now, that adding to the replayability, I definitely agree. Again, it's a kind of shake-up. Mid-game, there's no dog rounds as well. That kind of is your dog round, right? When they take down generators, that gives you a free max ammo and a free carpenter. So I mean, it's pretty cool. Again, it's different. That's why I like it. And I definitely do think it's a lot more replayable than D Machina. Not only for this reason, but I definitely do think that helps. Yes. And then, yeah, in terms of the pap camo, do I wish there was a new pap camo? Yes. That's been, if you think back to Black Ops 3 Zombies, every single DLC, they put in the giant pap camo, and people would be like, oh, there's no new pap camo. They'd actually complain about that. And I'm not saying that there's no reason to complain, but at the same time, it would always be a surprise when we go in and we see that ultra juicy pap camo for the first time. You go into DE, you see each variant of that pap camo. You go into, by the way, trivia question for the video. You probably heard this on stream. What color pap camo was there existent in Horizon Track that actually never made it to the final map, but it is in the game files? What was the color of that? Same camo, just a different color. What was the color of that camo? Anyways, moving forward, think again of Zetsubo's camo. Although it may have been disgusting, pretty cool, fit that map as well. Same thing with Gorod, you had that Dragon camo, multiple different colors, and Revelations as well. Some of them they even brought as DLC camos and MP that you had to pay for because they were so good. So that definitely adds to the experience. That's an extra kind of little thing. That's a smaller scale thing. That definitely does make a difference, but it's not an overarching issue, right? To not have a new pap camo. So I definitely agree with you. I'd like a new pap camo going forward, but if it's not different, it's not. No big deal. But again, I definitely do agree that it would be cool to have a new one. Anyways, moving forward, we have the second golden meatball. Mr. Jaden, he says, the map is great. Better than D Machina, in my opinion. I'm happy that they made the Orda, Mimic, and Mingler all count as elite eliminations. So yeah, that as well if you're going for camo grinding. Not only do you have the Mangler and the Mimics that spawn in way more often than the Megaton on D Machina, but you also have the Orda that counts as 3 elite eliminations, if I remember correctly. So that's even more awesome if you're grinding for Dark Ether, and another reason to do it now if you were previously turned off to it. He said, I have not tried the Easter egg yet. Plan on doing it this weekend. It has a really good replayability. The Wonder Weapon isn't the best, and for some reason they nerfed it. So I think that this is just an issue of him not seeing it fully. They did nerf it, but it's like really not that noticeable. I think that was just an issue of him not fully seeing people going for high rounds at that point yet. People are literally going to the 1,000 plus marker on this map. Like, if it wasn't for literally a power issue, I think Pikachu would have gotten to around 1,000, which is nuts, right? The Ray Rifle is awesome. It's really cool in general. and it's very powerful. It has 3 abilities, just in case you guys didn't know. It has the regular rifle ability that you shoot. It has a little swirl ability that you shoot down, like the Discord from Spaceland. It's literally called the Discordian Disruptor, if you look at it like that, from from Spaceland. Very similar ability. And then it has a 3rd ability, like the Ray Gun Mark III, where you shoot the assault rifle bullet into the little Discordian thing. There's 2 balls, one on the bottom, one on the top. If you shoot the AR bullet into the top one, that literally makes an explosion. It goes poosh, kills everything around it for the most part, damages the bigger enemies as well, and it's awesome. And again, it's allowing people to go to very high rounds, so I would definitely say that despite it being nerfed, it's still a very good and very fun wonder weapon, as long as you learn it and know how to use it. Lost Meatball also put in another comment. He said, Easter egg is fun, but the boss is not, since it's kind of a joke. I guess that's fair. I think what he's really alluding to is that the boss fight is very easy if you have Ring of Fire on. It's not because it does more damage, just because if you have the Ray K kind of double or triple papped, and you go into the boss and kind of execute correctly with a cruise missile as well, you can beat the boss in about 20 seconds. And if you're doing 4-player, 4 gold RPGs, you can get it done in about 10 seconds, right? So again, my issue isn't that the boss fight is too easy with this boss, right? And really I have no issue with that at all. My issue will be when we go back at this and look at this boss compared to future bosses. At least I hope that's the case, right? Because with each map, I'm hoping we get bigger and better. Again, D Machina, we had a ending sequence slash a boss that we really didn't kill, we just kind of defended. This map, we actually had a boss fight, a boss in which we killed and shot at, and hopefully going forward, we have another bigger boss, a boss that we have to take down, some other cool mechanics. Like this boss actually has a few different mechanics. He can kind of stun you, throw some bees or some shit at you, he can slam down at you. And I'm not talking about in the defense rounds. I'm talking the final boss, right? So in the future, I'm hoping that they keep that same kind of rhythm to the boss, that same kind of pattern, right? Having different kind of attacks and stuff like that, and maybe even having an ending boss fight, a boss arena, just like we used to in the past, and really emphasize that boss fight more, make it more difficult and stuff like that. But I definitely do think that this is a great start for Cold War. For the first real boss fight in the game, I give it a thumbs up. Although it definitely could have been more extensive, I do give it a thumbs up, but I do agree with you on that. It is kind of a joke. Next, Dave says, Firebase is all we really wanted from DLC 2. I think he meant DLC 1. It had great mechanics, Tombstone, and an amazing cutscene. Yeah, I just want to say very quickly, somebody literally came into my chat, no offense if this is you, and they said they don't like Firebase because of Tombstone. What? That doesn't even make sense. That has nothing to do with the map. How about you don't buy Tombstone and you just play it like D Machina with the same 6 perks from D Machina? Then how do you like the map? Like what? On that note, Tombstone also isn't as bad. I see people saying Tombstone's horrible. It's really not. If you upgrade it to tier 3, and by the way, there's going to be 2 more upgrades coming because of the overhaul to the upgrade system coming, I believe it's Tuesday. But if you upgrade it for now to tier 3, right, that turns it into regular Tombstone. And then regularly, it's who's who. You can't ask for much more. You can literally revive yourself if you die. Sure, if you get caught, then you lose, right? Then the game ends. But that's the point. It's a risk. You're not supposed to easily get up and have everything to you. And if you want to take that risk, you do it. If not, you die out if you're in a co-op game, and you come back the next round with your Tombstone, and that's that. It's not really that complicated. Sure, they could have made it a little bit more powerful, but I think it's a pretty fair balance in what they have now. That's just me, but it's not as bad as people are making it out to me. It's really not. But yeah, he says he loves the mechanics, the Tombstone, the cutscenes, yes, as well. The cutscenes were really cool. Really cool on, actually. We saw Samantha. We saw her wielding some stuff from our OG Primus crew. Like she had Takio's katana on her back. We got some interesting stuff going on there as well. I'm liking the build-up they got going on. And he says these are all great because they have taken all the things we loved from the original Ether story and adapted it to this new story. And that's I kind of agree with that, right? For the most part, I think the point of this story was to kind of obviously go and branch off and do something new, while at the same time still keeping the attention span of those people who wanted the Ether storyline to continue. I honestly wanted to continue. Like that statement or hate it, I wanted to continue because that's where the most hype was, that's where the most excitement was, that's where my true care was, and I think they know that. But to still allow themselves to create this brand new story, they branched off into the Dark Ether. So there's still a lot of familiar things going on, a lot of familiar ideas, but it's new. And I think it was the perfect route to take, considering the situation they're in. And again, another thumbs up for that. Got any coffee? That's Rift. He says, how are your meatballs? My meatballs are great, Mr. Rift. Next, Mr. J Scrine, legend. Make sure you go follow him over on Twitch. He says, Firebase is a great map with lots of glitches that can hurt it. For example, in a recent update, it made the capture devices sometimes not work in Mimics. Yeah, I completely agree. FOV is bugged on Xbox. I don't know if they fixed that yet, but sure. This, I should also note, I definitely agree with you. I'm going to read the rest of this. I definitely agree with you, but those are all temporary things. I don't want to focus too much on this because anytime the essence trap for the Mimics, that will work. The FOV bug on Xbox, that will be fixed, right? The Ray K splash damage bug, I had never even heard of that, but okay. Hopefully it's not like the Raygun Mark 3 from GoRod where sometimes you can insta down, but okay, fair. As well as the crashes that seem to routinely occur. I definitely don't think they're as common anymore though, because like I said, we had people like Pikachu on a PS5, he says, running to round 1,000 almost, right? So we got, I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm pretty sure he said it was on PS5, and people were questioning it because they couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that either. But I think we're kind of okay on that level in terms of some of the bugs and glitches. You can't expect a perfect map. But that stuff will be fixed with time. But he says, despite these problems, I will say I am enjoying the map very much. A fully original map is very good to have with new wonder weapons. With a new wonder weapon, we've always wanted to have the ray rifle gun, and we got it finally. Yep, agree. That's completely awesome. He says, I love the ridiculous amount of camping spots anyone can do, as well as the mimic enemy. I agree. Mimic's pretty cool. There's quite a few camping spots. There's also quite a few training spots. Also, what I want to say on the note is that I really like that Firebase is an original map. I like that it's bigger, right, and all that stuff. But the only thing that I have to say is that it feels a little empty. And what do I mean by that? Like, if you think of a map like Go Ride Crovey, there's stuff going on everywhere. Sure, we got a dark ether kind of surrounding to the map, so it's purple all around. We got some clouds. We got a nice little atmosphere going on. I like that. That's great. That's definitely the direction I wanted to go if we had a daytime map. I literally said that in my D Machine of Thoughts video. That's awesome. But, like, aside from that, just in the map in general, it's just, like, very plain, which is fine. But if you think of a map like Go Ride Crovey and even Origins for that matter, you got a bunch of stuff going on in the sky. You got a bunch of stuff kind of, like, catching your attention around the map. Kind of different assets and stuff like that. It's not very plain, if you get what I'm saying. Some stuff looks beaten down, dirty, roughed up. I mean, it's just a little bit different. You know what I mean? Everything was kind of clean, if that makes sense, in Firebase. I'm not sure if I'm really explaining that well, but you know, more dead bodies and stuff like that. It used to be like filled a little bit more, if that makes sense. And that's what I feel like this map is lacking in terms of the aesthetic. But again, I'm willing to give it a pass because the actual atmosphere is pretty solid, and I respect what they're doing with it so far. So definitely good shit for that. But I just wanted to point that out, that I do hope in the future that if the maps are bigger, which I hope they are, that they are a little bit more filled and kind of look more zombies-esque. I guess that's a better way to put it. In every area if possible. But anyways, he says the constant flow of mimics and manglers keep you on your toes, which is definitely true, although I do still think they need to be nerfed a little bit. He says the defense waves are an awesome concept, but poorly executed, given 2 stoners can kill order in 3 seconds at any round. All the side Easter eggs are very fun as well. And I personally love the Easter egg. Me too. I love every Easter egg step, and a real boss fight is great. Yep, just said the same thing. Wish we had set story characters rather than the operators, as well as weapon kits. But Treyarch is a small indie company, so I'll cut them some slack. Overall, Firebase gets an 8 out of 10 from me. I think that's definitely fair. I'll give you an overall rating at the end, but I'm gonna be honest that it's a little bit harsh. Actually, I'll give you my my rating now. I think that may be it for the most part for comments. Actually, I see another one here, but in general, I can't give a map a 10 out of 10. I'm not saying this is 10 out of 10 because it's not. But I can't give a map a 10 out of 10 because I don't know what a 10 out of 10 is. I can't consider Origins or Horizon Track a 10 out of 10. Regardless, just think of your favorite map, right? Or the best map in your opinion. I can't give that map a 10 out of 10 because I don't know if that will be the very best forever. So, if I had to rate DE, it's like a 9.5 to, and same thing for Origins, 9.5 to a 9.8 or 9.9, something like that, right? Because I just don't know what a 10 is, and with every map, I may adjust that scale. But as of now, that's what I kind of look at it as, right? For Firebase, don't get me wrong, it is a very good map, and considering that D Machina was a 5, I would probably give this map about a 7.5. I think a 7 to a 7.5 in between that range is pretty fair because it's not a DE, it's not an Origins, it's not even close to that, to be fair. But it is an original map and has a really awesome wonder weapon. I would honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, more about a 7.5 is fair, but no more than that. Because it is an original map, it has really fun and really flowy Easter egg. Again, it's fun to speedrun. Got some cool camping spots. You can run up some high rounds. Got some cool bosses. You got the Mangler returning as well. You got a brand new boss in the Mimic. You actually have a boss fight, although it's not an extensive one. You have kind of everything there, and it's definitely more in depth than D Machina. It's just not to the level of a BO3 map, right? So I can't, for that reason, rank it at the level of a BO3 map, but in general, I think a 7.5, a 7 to a 7.5 is pretty fair to say. That may be too high or too low, depending on how I'm feeling. But I still think around that range is pretty fair to rate Firebase. Just because, again, and the assault rounds as well. It's definitely a brand new, unique map on all grounds, and I respect it for that. And I definitely do think it's a good map. The Easter egg helps it out a lot for sure. The fact that it's high roundable, many training spots and stuff like that, really good. Again, 7 to a 7.5 from me. And then, yeah, and Chase Grind, about everything you said, I pretty much agree with it. I don't think the assault rounds are poorly executed, though. If anything, then I think literally all they can do is buff the Orda. But in general, I don't think that's going to be a problem for most people. I don't think most people are going to be killing Orda in 3 seconds anyways, regardless of what weapons they have. So I don't think that's much of an issue. But, I mean, if they need to, they can literally just buff Orda, and that's taken care of, you know. And then just in general, in terms of the assault waves, Orda aside, you still got to take out the zombies. I think it's a nice little cool mix-up to the typical dogs formula. But anyways, I still feel you. I still agree with you on most points. Moving forward. I think this is Kano. He says, I think that Firebase is a great map. The system with the ether reactors kind of give me an Origins vibe, and the map itself kind of reminds me of Ascension in a way. The wonder weapon is pretty good. I guess, honestly, it does, in terms of the feel, Ascension in a way, I guess, isn't that bad, because Ascension is kind of more of that cleaner map. You know what I mean? You know how I was saying before about how there's not too much going on around the map? It's just more of a cleaner look to the map. I guess you can kind of say it gives you a little bit of an Ascension feel now that you're thinking about it. I guess so. Not entirely, but I definitely feel that. The wonder weapon is pretty good. It requires some skill for it to be good. The mimics are crazy. The spawn rate at later rounds gets crazy. I agree with that. The manglers are powerful but can be taken out pretty quickly. Yeah, I like the overall feel of the map, and I hope that the direction the Treyarch is going is constant. The main problem is with all the crashes in the game too much. So yeah, I mean, of course, we got to always hope that the game was as stable as possible and that we're able to play for as long as possible with as little issues as possible. But overall, agree. Mimics also. Mangler is pretty cool as well. Wonder Weapon is solid if you know how to use it. And again, in terms of the direction, we're going upward, and that's all that matters. We took a nice step up from D Machina to Firebase, and hopefully we can continually take a step up and up and up. Next. Hype says, I haven't played it yet, as I've had a chance, but from watching streams on YouTube, it looks like an awesome map. So he hasn't played it yet, but just from what he's watched. Okay, so I don't consider this, I honestly want somebody to play something before they comment on it, good or bad, but I'll read this anyways. It looks like an awesome map, but I think it's yet another showcase of the potential of zombies in Cold War. I think that's a very fair point. He says, I feel like the Easter egg may have been a bit short. Okay. But it could just be a testament to how skilled Easter egg hunters are at finding the Easter eggs. Oh, I want to comment about that. Overall, I love the design of Firebase. The enemies seem challenging, and the wonder weapon is awesome. Can't wait for DLC 3 to come. It's actually going to be... Why is everyone calling it DLC 2? It's DLC 1. Anyways, and yeah, so I believe that's the final comment we got up here. Yeah, so... With that, we're going to conclude, but I want to say this. In terms of the Easter egg hunt for Firebase, right, guys? The Easter egg was solved in about 2.5 hours on Firebase. But I want to stress this. The map launched on February 4th. I don't remember what time it was, but I think it was midnight, if I remember correctly, or 2 a.m. or something like that, right? Regardless, the Easter egg launched over 24 hours after the map, and that took 2 hours. This is very... This is very, very kind of like difficult to wrap our head around, because it feels like a similar situation to D Machina, but it's not, right? D Machina, the Easter egg got solved quickly because the wonder weapons were solved beforehand, right? I mean, I guess it is a kind of similar situation, but this is what I'm getting at. D Machine was sold very quickly because people had the game early, and not only were they getting Wonder Weapon quests done early, but they were also doing some kind of like mini kind of steps done early when they weren't necessarily intended to. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the main portion, pretty much the entirety of the D Machine Easter egg, was the Wonder Weapons. That was supposed to be the main hunt, the Wonder Weapons, but over the course of 3 or 4 days, those were found, and then eventually once the Easter egg hunt went live, we knew how to do those. We got those done, we shot the thing, and then we were hunting the last kind of like 2 or 3 steps, which is nothing. Quick as anything. And as such, that Easter egg got sold very quickly. Now, the reason why I say Firebase is similar but kind of different, right? This Easter egg, this map launched for everybody at the same time, so we all got a chance to hunt from second one. And on that note, it took us about 6 hours to find the Wonder Weapon upgrade, or the Wonder Weapon buildable thing. We can get it from the box, we can get it from the trials, we can get it from all that, we can do all these different things, but we just couldn't figure out the final part to the Wonder Weapon upgrade, and that was the dark step. That took 6 hours to solve by itself. No, you do not need the Wonder Weapon you do not need to build the Wonder Weapon for the Easter egg, but between that, the Sergei's head Easter egg, and what you need an essence trap for, you find the head, you put the head down, the free jug Easter egg as well, people hunting all these different things, excuse me, at the same time that they're hunting the Wonder Weapon, at the same time that they're hunting the main Easter egg quest, the Easter egg would have undoubtedly taken a much longer time to solve. Like, there is no argument. The Easter egg would have gotten solved much slower sorry, I'm like out of breath right here, so I gotta let me get a drink real quick. Hold on. Okay, if the Easter egg launched at the same time that the map launched, that's what I was trying to say, it would have taken a much longer time to solve. And by much longer, it's not really much longer. I really mean 4 to 6 hours. Maybe probably around the 6 hour marker. And again, the reason why I say that is because we would have been hunting all of the side Easter eggs together at the same time, not knowing what each thing was, right? So just knowing that it took us 6 hours to hunt the Wonder Weapon upgrade, it would have probably taken about the same amount of time, if not longer, to hunt the Easter egg when we had everything going on at the same time, people's attention split elsewhere, right? Instead of going to the map, knowing how to create the Wonder Weapon, knowing kind of like the flow of the map as well. That's another thing, learning how a map works. Before D Machine came out, people already knew the flow of the map, knew everything about everything, right? Similar deal here. People knew everything about the map and were able to start the quest basically right from scratch because the Easter egg was unlocked over 24 hours later. They had time to play with the map beforehand. And this is everybody now, which it wasn't just the people that got the game early, it was everybody. So it would have definitely taken longer to solve the Easter egg. And then there was another thing I wanted to say as well. Oh yeah, the Easter egg, and this is an issue overall with the Easter eggs, and even Black Ops 4, Treyarch for some reason feels the need to take our hand and squeeze it like we're 2 years old. And I love Treyarch, don't get me wrong, but this is starting to piss me off. Tagged or Toten, you think of Tagged or Toten, I mean, you think of Ancient Evil, I guess, as well. What was DLC 3? Forget Ancient Evil. Please forget Ancient Evil. Just think of Tagged or Toten and Alpha Omega. And those are really the two best examples. What do those two maps have in common? You have people telling you pretty much what you have to do, exactly what you have to do. You have Nikolai and Tagged or Toten, at least heavily alluding to what you have to do, if not exactly. You have Nikolai and Tagged or Toten, and you have Rushmore and Alpha Omega. Alpha Omega got solved in 8 hours. 8 hours. Think about that one. But it was only because Rushmore was telling us what to do. But even on that note, think about it. 8 hours, and think about how small that map was. Think about that. That's how long it took for as small of a map. So when you consider that and everything I said right now, think about Firebase, how big the map is, getting used to the flow of the map, hunting all the Easter eggs at the same time and all that stuff. It would have definitely taken a much longer time to hunt the Firebase Easter egg and get that Easter egg solved if, just in general, the Easter egg launched at the same exact time as the map launch. And I'm not saying I even want that going forward. I definitely just want Easter egg, getting back to the last point that I just made. I definitely like the format they did right now where they release the map and the Easter egg later. But if they need to, for the sake of making it longer, the Easter egg hunt that is, then why not just release the Easter egg at the same time? Or how about this? Don't tell us the Easter egg steps. Don't tell us the Easter egg steps for each map from some kind of source in the map, whether it's Peck, Ravenloft, whatever it may be. Don't tell us exactly what we have to do. Let us find the stuff ourselves. Don't give us interactables on different things. Let us have to pick stuff up. Or how about this? Include all of that stuff that you already have. If you want to hold our hand, but give it a World War II kind of aspect. Let us do that Easter egg, but that's the casual Easter egg. Then there's a hardcore Easter egg, which we have no interactables, no hints, nothing like that. It's just us sitting there, interacting with the game, throwing a ball at the wall over and over again, hoping stuff works the way it used to be. The fun way of Easter egg hunting, actually having to use our brain, not using our brain in conjunction with hints, right? There's a difference between us thinking logically and us kind of using clues to think, if that makes sense. And then on that note, we're pretty much done here. The final thing I want to say, I can't believe this video is as long as it is, 30 minutes already. The final thing I want to say is that characters. The characters in Cold War Zombies, I definitely do hope going forward we will have unlockable characters. But seeing that Sam is an operator in Season 2, that's going to be in the store, I'm starting to lose hope on that. And again, what I really wanted was a system similar to World War II Zombies, and that we have our playable 4 characters, and we even have unlockable characters via challenges in the maps themselves. And we can play as all these different characters or operators that we unlocked, or that we what's it called, that we bought from the store, or the 4 main characters that tell us story information in game. This way we don't have to run back and forth like with Peck and Ravenov in Firebase, right? And we have all that stuff, and it just feels right? We don't have these plain-ass operators in-game barely saying anything, and we have to run back and forth for our story information. That was my hope, that they'd make it more World War II-esque, where we had the option to play as 4 basic operators, like Samantha, Eddie, just say Samantha, Eddie, and 2 other people. And those people give us their storyline, and Weaver just say, give us our storyline information. We go throughout the map, they give us Easter egg hints or something like that. Because that's kind of like where the Easter egg hints used to come from the playable characters. And and kind of pulling that away now, pulling away those playable characters and just giving us plain operators, does kind of draw away from the experience. Even if they didn't give us Easter egg hints, and even if you didn't catch on to them, still, just having them, it was a whole different vibe. And do I want them back? I definitely do. Do I think we're going to get them back? No, I think we're just going to have to part with them and just kind of accept that the operators are what's in the game. And hopefully, at some point they'll realize this, and in the next game, we actually have playable characters, or they combine again the operator system that they have, because I do think it's really cool. I like the idea of playing with other operators, because that was even a thing in World War II Zombies. You had your 4 main characters that did all the stuff that I said before that was awesome, like regular zombies, but then those other operators, you couldn't just unlock them and play as them, but they didn't have any quotes. Same deal here. We can have our 4 base characters, you play as them or whatever, storyline information, whatever you want. Then if you're feeling bored of them, you go in with somebody else. You go in with somebody you bought, somebody you unlocked, something like that. I think that would be pretty cool. Just imagine with each Easter egg, just like IW Zombies, you unlocked a character. So say for this Easter egg, you can play as Ravenov. DLC 1, you can play as, I don't even know. Just maybe the big guy, the boss at the end, right? Like who knows? Something like that. I think that would be pretty cool. But, again, I think this is the final time I'm going to probably mention this in the video, because I don't think it's going to happen. Would I like playable characters in Cold War Zombies? Characters like we used to have, the Primus crew, the Ultimus crew, the Victus crew? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to happen? Seeing the direction we're going in now, I do not think it's going to happen, unfortunately. So, if it does, that would be great, but I would start to give up your hope on that window. Because it's closing. But yeah, that's pretty much it, my friends. That was my and the Meatball Army Discord's thoughts on Firebase and Black Ops Cold War Zombies. That was a pretty extensive talk. I didn't expect it to be this long, but I guess it's just because I really haven't discussed this too much. I wanted to hold my thoughts for a video, so there you go. Hopefully a lot of the stuff made sense. I know it kind of went off on a tangent here and there, and I try to tie stuff together, and some of it may have not have made sense, but hopefully overall you get the overarching message here. Firebase is a solid map. It is not a Horizon Drac, it is not an Origins, it is not a Gorod Crovey. It's not one of the best maps ever. But for Cold War Zombies, it is definitely a step up. I'm very excited with the direction we're going in, and I'm very hopeful that going forward, we will see a map to the level of Horizon Drac, to the level of Gorod Crovey, Revelations, whatever you may want it to be, because this game, Cold War Zombies mechanics are just so awesome that if we have the right maps combined with it, boy, is it going to be an explosive and fun few months. And yes, I still do believe that Cold War Zombies could be better than Black Ops 3 Zombies if the maps are good. if the maps continue, like, they have to get a lot better. Again, although Firebase is good, it is not a BO3 level map. If we get maps, say we get the next 4 maps or BO3 level maps, I will be excited AF. We also have the brand new Outbreak mode coming later this week. So although we may not have, who knows what we're going to end up with, right? But just say worst case scenario, we may not have the best maps ever, like literally, I'm not saying that in a bad way. We may not have a Horizon Drac level map, right? But we'll have some awesome, like, solid, maybe a little bit better than Firebase maps, right? And then on top of that, we have this brand new Outbreak mode. We have a bunch of brand new game modes. We're kind of taking a different approach at kind of making an amazing zombie game, if you get what I'm saying. They're kind of not making everything perfect, if that makes sense, but kind of giving us a lot of it. And not to the level of BO4, kind of more to the level of just combining a lot of the stuff we liked in the past and kind of making it as good as they can and throwing it out there. And if that makes sense. And I kind of think that that's the approach that they're taking. And again, we have a brand new Outbreak mode coming. We're probably going to have modes like Grief and maybe even Rush return at some point. And we'll have to wait and see. We can talk about this all day. We already have talked about it pretty much all day. So that's going to be it, my friends. If you did enjoy the video, drop a thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel for a bunch more Elite Black Ops Cold War Zombies videos. The absolute most elite guides are down below in the description, including a 1 minute and 60-second Firebase Easter egg guide, a 30-second Ray K build guide, a 30-second Monkey Bomb upgrade guide. All that stuff is down below. I will see you in the next video. Take care of your meatballs.